Let's see if I can get this clipped on my jacket. Is it on? It is on. It's close. Just any place you can get it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I'll be there all day trying to do it. Good afternoon, everybody. So glad you could make it. One more time. I've had several notifications and phone calls, so not everybody's going to be able to make it, but I'm glad you are. But this is the last of our classes. I was going to bring my pile of books that I have about sign language, but I decided they were too heavy, so I did not bring them. But there are multiple books that if you want to continue with sign language, we have some, but you can purchase them like in the bookstores or online. But this is what I wanted to tell you was you have the core of all sign language because of the way this book was written, so that you would have, even if you don't know the exact word, you see where it is, you can figure out that's what we mean by the core sign. You know there's a place where the signs actually go, basically. And then when you're talking, always speak. Always use your lips, because the deaf people read lips wonderfully well. Anyway, let's go ahead and start with a word of prayer today. Our Heavenly Father, we're so blessed. We are just so blessed, above and beyond what we could possibly imagine, because of your goodness to us, your love, your grace, your mercy. Thank you, Lord, for being our Father, and thank you for giving us the desires of our hearts. I know that for some people this has been the desire of the heart, to learn sign language, and even though we haven't learned everything, you've blessed our classes, and I'm so thankful for that. And this is the final lesson in this book, but it's not the end of learning. And so, Lord, I pray that you would help us to use the signs that we have learned and to carry on. And Lord, pray that you would bless us with some making acquaintances with deaf people, and Lord, being able to speak of the Lord to them. Lord, that's why we're learning this, so we can tell them about our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, and how to be saved. And Lord, pray that you would present those opportunities as we go through our walk with you. Bless our class right now, and Lord, pray that we will be able to remember, at least I will be able to remember these signs, and we'll thank you for it. Thank you for each person that's taken the time to come today and all these weeks. I pray all these things in the name of Jesus. Amen. Okay, before we begin, does anybody have any questions about anything? Any questions? Okay, as we go, maybe there will be some questions still. Anybody run into any deaf people this week? Anybody see any deaf people anywhere? I know, it's hard. Sometimes it's hard. A couple weeks ago? Yeah, you were talking about that last week, I think. The girls, yeah, somebody was. Good. Well, all right, how shall we begin today? Let's see. We have a Bible verse. Let's begin with the Bible verse. Does anybody remember it off the top of your head? I can get through parts of it, but then it's like, uh-oh, wait a minute. No, that shouldn't have gone there. I needed to put that word here. Anyway, but let's go ahead and say it. And let me make sure I have it here in case I don't remember it. It's found in the book of Psalms. Isn't it interesting that there was a verse like this in the Bible about using your hands? Because guess what? There were deaf people way back from the very beginning, and they had to communicate somehow. But most of the time they were shunned. They were ignored, and that was kind of sad. Today it's kind of a popular thing to learn sign language. Has been for a long while. a popular thing to learn. And so many of the churches have established deaf ministries, which is like you've witnessed, right? Seeing a deaf ministry started someplace. We had one at Harvest for a long time when we were there. We didn't have a lot of deaf people, but we had a lot of interpreters. And so lots of times we would just, say, okay, this is your week to interpret. This is your week to interpret. And it was kind of fun to be able to do that, not have to do it every Sunday, because actually, if you do a message, it's kind of, well, for me, it was always nerve-wracking, like I've got to make sure they understand what's being said. Don't flick a sign off real fast, and don't say it wrong, and because it was God's word. And we wanted them to get saved, and the Lord blessed that. We had several deaf people get saved, and that was wonderful, just wonderful to see. So anyway, our verse today is Psalm, again, chapter 90, verse 17. So let's begin by spelling Psalm. P-S-A-L-M, chapter 90, verse 17. All right. Let the beauty of the Lord our God be upon us. Establish, is it thou? No, establish our. Establish our, it's not our. I can't see without glasses. Establish thou the work of our hands. Establish thou the work of our hands upon us, yea, the work of our hands establish thou it. We just ask the Lord to establish this in us, give us this ability, but also give us the opportunity so that it becomes our work, it becomes our mission. Got to have deaf people to do this, right? Okay. Any questions about any of the signs in that verse? Anybody? Okay. Everybody go okay with that? Good. Now, we have finished every chapter in the book. So we had a homework assignment. So let's go over our sentences that we had. Let me get to the sentences. Lesson 7. It was food and month or days, the months, was it days? No. It's a lot of food. Okay, let's start with, we're going to go over every sign in here one more time. Let's start with bread. Here's our bread. We're going to slice it 3 times. Bread, 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 bread. Bread, bread, bread. When you practice, you should say it at least 3 times. Bread, bread, bread. Okay, that was 9. 6, 7, 8. Lesson 7. And butter. Right here, we're gonna put butter on a piece of bread. Butter, butter, butter. Now you can put your hand down this way and do it this way also. Butter. So you don't have to be in the exact position sometimes for these signs. Is what I'm trying to explain. That you can change hands. Butter over here, or butter on the table if you want. So, butter, milk, just like milking the cow. Milk, milk, milk. Coffee, got to have that coffee in the morning. Coffee, coffee. This is a coffee grinder. We're grinding those coffee beans the old-fashioned way. And then sugar. Little finger, thumb on your index finger comes straight down like that. Sugar, sugar, sugar. Followed by salt. 2 H hands, put one right here and one right here, and just kind of shake the salt. Shaker. Salt, salt, salt. After that's pepper. So we got to have a pepper shaker too. So I have a note here. What does it say? It says C notes. Okay. Okay, we're just going to shake the pepper. F finger Shaking that pepper. Now you can shake it like this. You can shake it like that. Just shake it. And then tea. Have you had your tea today? Your tea. You've got your tea bag right here. You're swirling it around in your cup to make your tea. And let's do eggs. Anybody have eggs to eat today? Eggs. Eggs. Break in your eggs. 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 Followed by, let's see. Okay. I skipped sugar. No, I did that one. We got coffee, sugar, salt, did all of that. Pepper, tea, eggs, meat. Oh, meat, right here. Squeeze the meaty part of your hand. Meat, meat, meat. Followed by gravy. Grease is the word. It's a synonym. And it comes right, just flows right off the back of your hand. And then fish. So you make a little fish swimming right here. Fish. And pie. So we have to pretend that this is our pie right here and cut a piece. Pie. Pie. Let's see. Cake. A C for cake, and just brush the crumbs off. Cake, cake, cake. And then candy. Think of a candy cane right here in the side of your mouth. Candy, candy, candy. And the next one, beans. Okay, so here's a bean, and I'm going to just break the top right off. Bean, bean, like you're shelling beans. Bean, bean. And corn. Okay, so the way the book shows you how to do corn is like this. And you're going to take your C hand for corn, and you're going to go down, right down the corn stalk. Corn, corn, corn. Alternate sign for corn is like you're eating. Yes. An apple. Yeah, put your finger right here in your cheek and just turn it. Apple. You have an A hand right here when you do that. So apple, the A is for apple, apple. And then let's see, let's go to banana. So here's our banana, and we're just going to peel it. Peel a couple of times. Then let's see, where am I? A peach, peach fuzz right here. Just rub the side of your cheek. Peach fuzz, peach, peach, peach. Now, a lot of the times the deaf people will not do the sign, they'll just spell it out. And that's okay. But I don't always catch the spelling. That's the hardest part for me, is to read other people's sign language. Now, if it was y'all, I could understand your sign language, but the deaf people, a lot of times they have their very own sign language that they've learned in their families or they've learned in their schools, and it's not always the same as what's taught in this book. But it's in the same area. It's not necessarily with some people will do it with a P, like that. You don't have to initialize it with a P if you just do this. But you have choices. That's what I would like you to understand. It doesn't have to be just exactly this sign right here. It can be close to it. They're going to read your lips first and foremost, and that's one of the most important things to remember. Don't be silent. Say the words, because they're experts at lip reading. And so a lot of times they'll just ignore your sign. They can read what you're saying and carry on. Watermelon. Right here, like we've always done this. When we're buying watermelon, we have to thump it, right? Watermelon, watermelon. Tomatoes. Okay, so tomatoes we want to slice. So again, I was thinking about, this is where I started thinking about, you don't have to have the same position necessarily, because we want to slice some tomatoes. We want to have a sharp knife, and the book doesn't necessarily, I'm not necessarily following. It says to point to your lips for red. So you're establishing a color here. But then you're going to slice off right here with your knife finger. Tomatoes. In this case, they're red tomatoes when you put it here, but it could be green. You could say green tomatoes. Let's see, where are we? Syrup. Okay, H hand, and it says to go up and down, but I just kind of drag it down like that. Syrup with the H fingers. Syrup. Next page, beer. Like we need to know these signs. However, when the deaf people are talking to you, they may be drinking beer or they may be saying something about it. So you need to know it's a B hand and it's right here. They're drinking. I went the wrong direction. So B and go like you're drinking. A B. Drink. Beer. 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 And then here's whiskey. I always have a hard time with this. It's this little finger up and this index finger up. And everything else is down, and you put it on your hand just like this. Whiskey. 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 My husband told me last night, because I said, I've always hated that sign for whatever reason. And he said, well, you know what it is? It's measuring a fifth of whiskey, 2/5 of whiskey, actually. Measurement. Never heard of that, but I learned something, I guess. Wine is, use your W fingers for wine. And let's see. What is it? Oh, that's whiskey. Wine. C notes. What do my notes say? Okay. Here it is. You're going to make a little circle with this finger right here on the side of your cheek, but you've got the W, and you're putting it at your cheek, and then you're drawing a little circle. For rosé, I guess. I know nothing about wine. I know nothing about this kind of stuff, however. We'll move on. The next one is onion, and that's how I feel today. Like I haven't been around onions, but my eyes are watering. So right here, an O hand for onion, and right beside your eye, onion, 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 onion. And then there's cabbage. Cabbage is both hands right up here on your head. Cabbage, like a head of cabbage. I mean, sometimes when you just hear the word, I have to think of those things. It's like a head on the head of cabbage. And let's go to the next one. Cheese. Well, I've never made cheese. Anybody here ever make cheese? Where you have to actually press it like this. Cheese, cheese, cheese. Followed by, crackers. Right over here. Just tap your elbow. Crackers, 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 crackers. I always like to hear it. Crackers and cheese, yes. And cheese. We did the cheese. Here's the crackers. Now nut. Don't pull your teeth out, but flick it right out. Off of a tooth. Crackers. Nut. And the color red, which you've already learned because we've used it quite often. Red, red, red. And there's some more colors. Pink. With your P fingers, it's basically the same thing. Pink, right here. Pink, pink, pink. Followed by black. A straight index finger right across your forehead. Black, black, black. Brown, brown with a B hand. Come down the side of your hair. Brown, brown, brown. And then white on the next page. White, open your hand and put it right here. And we're thinking, I told you last week about the nuns' bibs, the white bibs. That's kind of where this came from. White, white, white. Purple, there's a P right here. And just shake it. Purple, purple, purple. Blue is a B hand again, but it just come down. Blue, blue, blue. It says to shake the B. You can shake it like this. I just find it easier, and they know because you're saying blue, and they know it's blue. And then after blue, we've got some more colors. We've got green. Make a G and shake it. Green, green, green. Let's switch to yellow with a Y, because yellow starts with Y. Yellow, yellow, yellow. And now days of the week. We're going to start with Monday. Make an M. We're doing a lot of initialization now and go in a circle. Monday, 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 Monday. Switch to Tuesday with a T. Tuesday, Tuesday, Tuesday. Wednesday with a W. We've already been using that. And Thursday, now this one you do a TH. T-H. T-H. And it doesn't matter if you go around this way or around that way. T-H, they're going to know that's Thursday. Yeah, exactly. That one too, I have trouble with that one. And a lot of times because I couldn't do it, I would just start to spell Thursday. And they don't care if you spell correctly or not, they get it. And let's see, what are we doing? We did Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, W, go around in a circle. All the days of the week go around in a circle because it's 24 hours a day, if that helps you remember it, the full 24 hours. And there's all kinds of stories that go with these signs. I just can't remember them all. Let's see. What did we do? We did Thursday, Friday, F, same thing. Friday, Saturday, but Sunday's different. Sunday's first day of the week. Sunday. Now, I just learned this last night because when my husband and I go over these, and when we were going over it, I said, how do you do Sunday? And I went like that. He said, oh no, don't do that. I said, Sunday, yes. He said, don't bend at the waist because that's worshiping Allah. I did not know that, but in sign language. Like I said, he knows far more signs than I do. Okay, so we've done Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Then, let's go to the next page. And the first sign is virgin, so make V fingers and put it right here because this is the female section. Virgin. And then animals, 2 hands, 1 under each shoulder. Animals. Followed by horse, right here. H hand right here. Horse. It says V. You can use H. That's how I learned it. I did not do a V for horse. I did not learn it. Didn't learn all my signs from this book. You can do that. You can do horse. You can flick it down like that. And then, wet pig. Okay, so you know pigs, they eat a lot. They're full up most of the time, but they're also dirty, so we're going to do that full and dirty together sign for pig. Any of you have pigs? Anybody raise pigs? Okay. Dog. Okay, snap your fingers. Hit the side of your leg. Or you can do it the opposite direction. It's still, I can't snap fingers, but dog. Cat has some whiskers, so let's draw whiskers on our cat. 3 whiskers. Cat. And then we got a donkey. No, we got a cow first. What does it have there? It says something about horns on a cow. Okay, we got to make horns on a cow. I've never really paid attention to horns on a cow. I haven't been around a lot of cows, but I guess they have them. Cow. Anybody here have a cow? Okay. Oh, no, you're doing a sign. Okay. It shows donkey with 2 hands. And there have 5 hands. Your 5 hands, yep. Donkey, and that looks kind of like donkey, doesn't it? Donkey. I haven't been around a lot of donkeys in my lifetime. Stubborn. Okay, same thing, but you come down once. Stubborn. And a little emphasis on, the stubborn. Have you ever seen stubborn kids? I mean, stubborn animals? Okay. That was stubborn. Now we need bear. So cross your arms and have your hands, open a little bit, your fingers. You can scratch a little bit. Bear, or just do bear. Bear. Followed by monkey. And both hands, both sides, monkey goes right here. And I hear the sounds that the deaf kids used to make because they could have partial hearing, but they were in the deaf school. But some of them would get down on the floor and jump up and down and do it because they wanted to be emphatic. Monkey, followed by wolf. Put your hand right in front of your face like this and close it and pull out. Wolf. That long nose of a wolf is what we're doing. Wolf. It's a picture. Fox. Well, it doesn't start with W, so it starts with F. So we'll do our F, and we'll put it right in front of our nose and twist a little bit. Fox, fox, fox. It's easier for me to spell it than get that all going. Followed by bird or chicken. So underneath your chin, put your thumb and your index finger together, and this is bird, bird or chicken. And you could add, if you want to emphasize it's chicken, chicken scratch, chicken scratch, chicken scratch. And B, B. Now, it says pinch your right cheek. I think it's just clear when you do this that it's B. I don't think you have to pinch your right. That's just me. You can pinch your right cheek if you want to, which is that way. B. Lion. The lion sleeps tonight. So you got bent fingers and you come over your head. Lion. 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 And snake is next. And so just kind of do a snaky kind of a movement. It doesn't have to really look like a snake. The movement kind of explains snake. I don't do it with B fingers. You can. I mean, it's just here is snake and here makes it B. It's just, again, it's more the vicinity of it than necessarily initializing. But you can initialize any words you want to. It's sometimes the deaf prefer that if our sign language isn't real good. So where are we? Worm. Okay. So put a background up to put your little worm on here to make it wiggle. Worm, worm, worm. That looks like a worm, doesn't it? Worm. Sheep. All right, sheep need to be trimmed. Okay, so let's have the back of a sheep right over here. And then we're going to take our scissors and we're going to cut hair off that sheep. Now, you don't have to lift your arm this high. You know, you can have it down here and cut down here. Sheep. And shepherd is the sheep keeper. So let's do the sign for sheep again one more time. Sheep, and then we'll do keep, 2 K's. Keep-er. Keeper. All right, let's try it again. Sheep, keeper. Or shepherd. Let's do it one more time. Sheep, keeper, shepherd. And then, next page, turtle. This is one of my favorite ones. Oh, I skipped elephant. I did, up at the top. I skipped spider and bug, too. Okay, elephant. All right, so here's this big trunk right here. Elephant, elephant, elephant. Now, it says right arm. Okay, extend right arm from nose and swing arm. Okay, so I did that with the wrong arm. Elephant. But you can do either arm. They will know what it means. Elephant, elephant, elephant. The big old trunk. And then spider. Little teeny tiny spider crawling across your hand. Spider, spider, spider. And bug. Now, to me, this looks like the very same sign as spider. So, I don't know the difference there. The picture is different, but it's the same sign. Just say bug or say spider. Right, right. Okay, now did we get elephant? We got spider, we got bug, we got sheep and shepherd, turtle. Did we do turtle? Okay, cover your hand, this hand. I'm right-handed. All right, so you're going to cover your hand and then wiggle this thumb right here. That little head of a turtle. How many of you ever had turtles and played with them? And you know, they have just little tiny heads. All right, turtle, followed by rat or mouse. So we're going to initialize with an R for rat, right here. And we're going to push up on the nose. Rat, rat, rat. Huh? And frog. frog, V fingers under the chin, facing you, and come on, fingers, work. Here we go. Flick them. Frog, 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 frog. 2 fingers. Frog, frog. Huh? Yes. Very good. Yes. Frog in your throat. Deer. Okay. Did we do deer? Deer. 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 Goat. Now, here's the whiskers. First you do the whiskers for the goat because they have whiskers, and then V fingers make the horns. You can do one or you can do both, but you do the beard first and then you do the horns, and that's how you do goat. America. America, put your hands together like this out in front of you and come around. America, all the way around. America. America. France. F fingers with your right arm, and you're going to wave it back and forth like a flag. France, 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 France. Italy, they tell you to do this a little bit differently because Italy is a Catholic country, but so is France. So we're going to use our little I finger for Italy, and then we're going to do, what did they say to do? Make a cross right here, right across the top of your forehead. Italy, Italy. Germany, cross your arms over like this, and I think they say to move your fingers. Yes, yes. I always did it like this, and everybody knew that meant Germany, but they want you to move your fingers, whatever. Because it's supposed to be crossed flags on a coat of arms, apparently. The flags move. Oh my goodness, USA. Spell it. It's not really spelling USA, or do they have this in the book? No, they don't have this in the book. All right. Well, they do say put the U fingers and the S fingers in front of the body. Their illustration's not real good. United States of America. Just go around with it. United States of America. But most of the time, USA is the way that's done. And then Russia, the Russian dancers, they would get down, on their knee, their squat down and do their dance with their hands like this. So that's Russian, Russian, Russian. China, first we're going to start with the index finger, and we're going to go right over here to the side of our eye, and we're going to push up. Push up. China, China, China. Now, the next one is Japan. So now, similar, very, very similar, but you're going to do a little, you're going to draw a little J. J, Japan, 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 right there. Which is, it's kind of hard to do without, well, I always poke myself in the eye and knock my glasses flying, so. Where are we now? We did China, we've done Japan. Let's do Africa. Just an A right across the forehead. Africa, Africa, Africa. Indians. Now, this one, it says to use your index finger and thumb of the right hand and go up, and you're like you're painting the side of your face. I have never gone up. I've always gone down like this to paint the side of my face, and haven't had to use that too terribly much, by the way. Jews. I'm sorry, I didn't hear everything you said. No, not my experience. Now, we had a couple of deaf ladies in our church for many, many years, and they were from the old school. I'm going to put it that way, from the old school, and they had no trouble with whatever we did for sign because they lip read everything, because we said everything that we were doing, And they would just read our lips. And sometimes they would giggle and laugh at a sign. And then later on they'd say, not how we learned it, not how we learned it, because what was that sign? So, it's not really cast in concrete. This is the only sign for anything, basically. Okay, so let's see. Indians, then Jews. Now, it says the C hand on the chin, like this. Jews, Jews, Jews. Okay, I'm going to tell you, it means stingy. That's the word for stingy, and that's what they use for sign language. The sign for sign language. Yeah, because, well, have you ever done any business with Jewish folks? First of all, they won't do business with us because we're Christians. They only do business with other Jews. And we lived in a section of town one time that was surrounded by, there was a Jewish tabernacle, and there were a lot of Jewish people. They walked to church every Sunday, rain or shine, snow, hail, sleet, didn't matter. But they had a reputation for being very selfish and very stingy. Everybody would say, oh, don't go over there and do business with them. Anyway, that's kind of where the sign is coming from. Anyway, culture, Washington. We're looking at the sign for Washington. It doesn't say D.C., so I'm assuming it's the state, because this isn't the sign for Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. is like this. Washington, D.C. But this is just for Washington, the state. So W hand, it says just right here, Washington. Just draw a W right straight down the side of your face. Washington. And California. California, is the land of gold. Oh dear, I'm going to teach you. No? Okay. So we're going to point to where gold earrings would be. Gold earrings were, I guess, manufactured in California. I don't really know. So a lot of times I would do like this, and I'd do earring, just because. And they would giggle. They knew what I meant. California, though. Okay, it says change to a Y hand. Point to the earlobe with your index finger. Change to a Y hand. That's yellow. And turn away from the ear. Earrings made from gold. Canada. Canadians like to shake hands apparently a lot. So just up and down the lapel of your shirt, jacket, whatever. Don't have a lapel, still up and down. And, oh, we got to do humble, B hand. Okay. Here's humble, thank you. My glasses are so bad I can't read this very well, sorry. Humble, okay, two hands, and make a B hand, and then come down underneath. Humble, you're putting yourself below. Humble, or beneath. Humble. You said humble and New York City. Okay, New York. Got the hands turned like this. New York, New York, New York. Chicago, Chicago, Chicago is the big C hand. Okay, got Washington, we got California, we got Canada. Now, last page. Collide or wreck. Just put two hands, fist, together and hit them together. Collide, wreck, collide. Followed by victory. Good sign. Make a V. And like we've got a flag, we're just going to go around and around. Victory, 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 victory. And that is the last sign in the book. I had the number of total signs last night. I don't think I can remember it. It's a lot of signs. You have been exposed to a lot of signs. It's like 600 something, 596 or something. I can't remember. A lot of signs. And we will forget them if we don't use them. Did you know that? So try to practice a little bit here and there. When you think of maybe we were terrible about this, my husband especially. He'd be driving down the road and he'd just start to do signs. He'd have one hand on the wheel and do signs, and I'd say, stop, don't do that. And then I'd start. And we were doing it together. But they knew what you were doing. Yeah, that's great. Even if you didn't. She said, I didn't. But that's great. Right. That's right. But good for you. Good. That means you were thinking about it. It was in your mind. You were thinking about it. For sure. Okay. We've got some sentences that you were supposed to practice. So let's do those. And let's see. We did collide, wreck, and we did victory. So when we're finished today, we can do victory. Finished. This is the sign for finished. And then victory with both hands is emphatic. Anytime you double up a sign, it's for emphasis, to make that, a point. So, okay. You get bread, butter, and coffee to eat. Who would like to do that one? Good. Good job. Well done. Yes, good. Who wants to do the pig, cow, horse, and dog? Oh, no, horse, dog, and cat live on the farm. Millie's going to do it for us. Okay, I'll read it again. Do you want me to read it slowly when you do it? Can you remember all of it? You can remember it? Okay. All right. The pig, cow, horse, dog, and cat live on farm. Go ahead. Cow. Uh-huh. Good job. That's wonderful. Number 3, you cut the pie and you get the coffee to serve. Now, those parentheses, you don't have to put the in there and to in there. But you can. Who would like to do that one? Miss Rhonda. Good job. Wow. You are doing fabulously well. Everybody is. Okay, number 4, candy and apples are good together. Who wants to try that one? Candy? Go ahead. Yes, good job. Are you finding it easier to put words together to make sentences? Good, good, good. Number 5, whiskey, wine, and beer hurt your body. Anybody want to try that one? Whiskey, wine, and beer hurt? What does it say? Yeah, hurt your body. Nobody wants to do it? You can do it? Okay, go ahead. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right. Good. Look at that. Okay. Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. You must have black on. I don't know why, but that's what it says. Monday, Wednesday, and what else? Saturday. You must have black on. Well, probably because this is an interpreter speaking. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Okay. Yes, ma'am? Go right ahead. Good. Well done. Well done. We're getting there. Number 7, the bird was red with brown on his back. Okay? Samantha? Mm-hmm. With? With. Two hands come together. With? Good job. Look at you. Y'all are just holding back. You're just holding out. You know how to do this. Okay. Number 8. Indians live in New York and won't work. I think that's a political statement there myself, but okay. Indians live in New York and won't work. Yes, ma'am. New York. Uh-huh. Refuse. Yes. Work. Good. Good, good. The Jews, and notice that the word people is in parentheses here, worship on Friday and Saturday and work hard. Anybody want to try that one? The Jews. See Ethan back there working on it. You got it? Want to try it? Okay. The Jews worship, let's see, on Friday and Saturday, work hard. That's right. Oh, yes, yes. Let's see, let me help you. Worship on Friday. Yes. Uh-huh. 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 And work hard. Work. Uh-huh. Very good. Good job. That's a lot right there to have to think about. Let's see. America and England are good friends. America? Yes, ma'am. Uh-huh. Very good. Wow. That's great. That is great. Okay. That's all there are. There's a memory verse at the bottom. Let's do that one together. These verses that are in this book are all to lead someone to Christ. Have you noticed that? If you just study these verses, and you just the verses, not every single word in the book, you would know how to tell someone how to be saved. And that's the whole purpose of all this, learning all this to begin with. So let's do the memory verse, which is all have sinned and come short of the glory of God, which is found in Romans chapter 3:23. So we'll start off giving Romans chapter 3, verse 23, and then all have come short of the glory. No, all have sinned and come short of the glory of God. And we'll say, okay, let's spell out Romans, capital R-O-M-A-N-S, Romans, chapter, what is it? 3, verse 23, 2, 3. Okay, all right, all, We're not going to do have. We're just going to do sinned and come short of the glory of God. Okay, let's do that one again. All right? Romans chapter 3, verse 23. All have, I guess I said we leave out have, sinned and come short of the glory of God. And let's see. That, I think, is the last verse in the book. It is, okay. Now, we haven't done any singing at all since we got here today. So, anybody have a song you'd like to sing? In sign language, of course. Anybody? Nobody wants to sing. Oh. What are we going to do? What if we have deaf people come? And if you know sign language, typically when there is a deaf ministry, which we have not started, we did not do sign language to establish a deaf ministry, but when there's a deaf ministry, everybody that interprets kind of sits in the same area, because one person is not going to do a whole service because it's too much. Typically there will be 2, maybe 3 people. Just depends on how the service is designed. The person who does the preaching, my husband and I were always a team, and sometimes we had other people that would come that would be in the deaf ministry. So our team might be 2 people, it might be 3, it might be 4 or 5. My husband, because he was the only male, did all the preaching, because that's what God wants. He wants the man to preach, and so my husband always did the preaching. If there was no one else but me, I did the music. But if there were several of us, then we would say, okay, you want to do this song? You want to do that song? We usually knew what the music was ahead of time, so we could practice. But when there's only 2, then one does the preaching part, and hopefully it's a male, but women will do preaching if there's no man to do it. And then the other person does the music. And when you're doing the music, by the way, you typically don't have the music. But if you do, it's real hard to look at the music book and do the signing. Usually I knock the music book off first thing, so it wasn't a problem. I just had to do it. So that's kind of how it's done today. Have any of you been to a church where there is a deaf ministry and you've seen how they divide it up? So you know that more than one person is interpreting, because it takes a lot. And what you're doing is you're using your mind, you're using your ears. You have to listen to what's being said. And not only that, but you don't have a sign for every word that's being said. So you have to take the thought and condense that into the signs that you know. And that's kind of tricky when you first start. And it was always fun to do once you got started. But so that's why I've been teaching you songs, just in case, so that if we have somebody come, I'm not going to do the whole thing. Y'all are going to have to help. So be ready. Be ready. You may have to stand up and do a song one of these days. Not today. We don't have any deaf people that we know of coming to, tomorrow to church. But anyway, let's see. Let's start with the salvation song. Does everybody remember when I say salvation song, we're going to start by spelling salvation, okay? And then follow along with me. With the S, let's begin. No, you can't get to heaven without salvation. No, you can't get to heaven without salvation. Arthritis, I'm sorry. Shout it out loud and clear. salvation. Sing it out far and near. salvation. Good. Okay. Do you think of another song? All right. What was I going to say? There was something I was going to say about that. Oh, I switched hands. You don't have to do that. That's if you're left-handed and that's all you can do, then do it. If you're right-handed. Usually, when there's a group of deaf people, you can play a little bit. You can switch hands, and you always tell them, copy me, so that they will sing and sign with you. So copy me, and then you begin. And sometimes they will, sometimes they won't, or sometimes they'll get way ahead. The younger deaf, they like to get way ahead, and they're laughing, and they're, this is a church song, don't laugh, but you don't tell them that. They get it eventually. So, all right, what else can we sing? Yes, everything's all right in my Father's house. Everybody know that one? It's okay. Follow me. Everything's all right in my Father's house, in my Father's house, in my Father's house. Everything's all right in my Father's house, where there's joy, joy, joy. Come and, I'm spelling go with me to my Father's house. To my Father's house, to my Father's house, come and go with me to my Father's house, where there's joy, joy, joy. And we always did them pretty slow until they got good at it, and then we would keep time to the music. So sometimes the piano would be playing, people would be singing words, and we'd be way back here with the sign. They didn't care. And I didn't care either, as long as they were doing it. Anyway, another song? Anybody have another song you'd like to sing? This is our last time to sing together in sign. Okay. Jesus loves me. Oh, that song we just sang is a great one to invite deaf people. To knock on a door and say, come to my Father's house, and then do church. Yes. Okay. Oh, yes. I have the joy, 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 joy down in my heart. Okay. Everybody, copy me. I have the joy, 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 joy down in my heart. Too low for me. Down in my heart. Where? Down in my heart. I have the joy, 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 joy down in my heart. Where? Down in my heart to stay. And I'm so happy, so very happy. I have the love of Jesus in my heart. And I'm so happy, so very happy. I have the love of Jesus in my heart. Now, wasn't that easy? I do middle fingers and draw a heart, but it looks like the whole hand. Yes, make a heart. Just draw a little heart right over your heart. Good, good, good. Anybody have another one? Any others that you would like to sing? What was that? Amazing Grace. Yes. Okay. Well, I got corrected on my sign last night when my husband and I were singing it together. He said, it's these fingers here. It's not the middle finger, it's these fingers. Well, I had forgotten that. Anyway, amazing. Amazing, and grace is right here. Grab it, handful of it, and sprinkle it on yourself. Okay. Okie dokie. Ready? Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found, was blind, but now I see. When we've been there 10,000 bright shining as the sun. We've no less days to sing God's praise than when we first begun. Y'all did great. Good job. Wonderful. Okay, we have some more time. So, what can we do? You want to sing some more? You want to practice some other signs? Go back over anything? Okay, she wants to do I'm in, right out, right up, right down, right. And she only signed that to me. Did you see her? She just went. Good for you. Okay, let's do that one. I'm in, right out, right up, right down, right, happy all the time. I'm in, right out, right up, right down, right, happy all the time. Since Jesus Christ came in and cleansed my heart from sin, I'm in, right out, right up, right down, right, happy all the time. Now, when we did this with the deaf people, the deaf, especially the kids, but even the older deaf, they wanted to do it again, only faster. You want to try? You want to try? Okay, let's try. I'll start you and see if you can do it. I don't know if I can do it. Let's see. I'm in, right out, right up, right down, right, happy all the time. I'm in, right out, right up, right down, right, happy all the time. Since Jesus Christ came in and cleansed my heart from sin, I'm in, right out, right up, right down, right, happy all the time. And they were never happy with that either. They wanted to go faster than that. Well, then you couldn't see any signs. You couldn't tell what anybody was doing if it got any fast. And even then, it was hard to make the signs that fast for me. But not y'all young people. I know, she was just shaking her head. No, not hard. Okay, anything else? Any other songs? That was a good one, Millie. Thank you for remembering that one. Anybody have a song that you'd like to sing? Well, with each lesson, there was a song at the end of each lesson. So let's see if there's anything else that we might want to do, just for fun. Now, I'm just going to ask a question just for my own personal information. Is there anybody here that would like to become an interpreter for the deaf? Because if you would, there's a lot more stuff to learn about being an interpreter for the deaf. This is just, you've been exposed to basic sign language. Yes, there's more. But right now, you needed, first of all, to be exposed to it, to see what it's all about, and to learn signs. And speaking of learning signs, you've been learning religious signs. Many people who are deaf or who have gone to schools for the deaf have learned no religious signs. So they might not know this is church. They might not know this is Jesus. They might not know religious signs. And that's something that you wouldn't if you weren't going to a church, if you weren't being taught in a church. You wouldn't know religious signs. But I'll tell you one of the things that it's teaching in a deaf school. I told you I taught for a couple of years in a deaf school. And we had a staff meeting, all the teachers. We had a staff meeting after school, and the administrator at the school brought in a black man, and he had come to the school to visit the school because he was deaf, and he wanted to see a deaf school. And so the administrator introduced him and told a little bit about where he was from, what he was doing, and he was a missionary. And actually, he was a preacher. And we didn't know that until then he wanted to speak. And so he started to sign, and I started to hear movement and stuff in the back of me. And he started off with, I'm a Baptist preacher from, and then he spelled the name of the town, which I can't remember now, but it was in Africa. And the people behind me didn't know what he was saying. And they were like, what was that sign? What was that? What? Baptist? You know that sign. Baptist preacher. And they were all upset. What is he saying? We can't understand him. And then he went on and gave his testimony about how he got saved. And the unfortunate part was probably most of them didn't understand all that either. But anyway, he had come to visit in the United States. He was interested in deaf schools because he wanted to start a deaf school back in Africa. And so it's not just here. There are deaf people everywhere, all over the world. So you never know. You might run into some deaf people. All right. Have you thought of another song? Anybody think of another song? Deep and Wide. Do we know that one? We sang that one, haven't we? Okay. All right. You want to try it again? Let's try it again. All right. Deep and wide, there's a fountain flowing deep and wide. Deep and wide, there's a fountain flowing deep and wide. Wide and deep, there's a fountain flowing wide and deep. Wide and deep, there's a fountain flowing wide and deep. So when you're interpreting, you are the one who has to think of what the right sign is, or what picture you can make with your hands that fits what the word is, what the words are, the important words. You can leave out all the a, ands, and thes, and that's fine. And that, especially when the songs are going along and you got to, you're trying to follow the pianist and make sure that you're getting the right words in there. But don't worry if you can't remember the right words. The deaf people are the most forgiving people I have ever been around. If you make a mistake or you do something wrong, oh, it's okay. Because, until you actually experience it, you don't really understand how much they truly appreciate the fact that you've tried to learn sign language to communicate with them. They just really, really have a very high regard, much love even, for the people who they want to talk to them. So if you run into somebody and you try to talk to them, they're going to think you're the most wonderful person they've ever met. If you even say hi, or just go hi, spell it out, they're going to think you're wonderful. Uh-huh. Yes. 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 They do. They really appreciate it because they're ignored. If they're, people know they're deaf, they don't try to talk to them. They're kind of, even the deaf kids that I had when I was teaching, so many of them, their parents just ignored them. It's like, okay, they're broken, can't be fixed. I have lots of memories there. The babies that were in the nurseries, they were so sweet. So the school that I taught in took infants. And even though they were deaf, they were going to have instruction as soon as they could sit them up and they could teach signs. They didn't have to know how to speak. They just started teaching, and they had it from birth until, for whenever the Lord decided to take them home. But I thought that was fascinating to have babies. And then there was a section this is the one that fascinated me the most, and I really don't know how to do it. But there were deaf kids that would interpret for blind kids in their hand. They would just sit down, and the deaf kids would watch the interpreter, and then I don't know how they did it for the deaf. The deaf kids were doing it for the kids that couldn't see. They couldn't really see. Sometimes they had some vision. They could see it, but very blurry or something. But it was kind of amazing to me that you would start little babies off in a school like that. That's true. That's right. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right, right. Well, I've been exposed to deaf people since I was a little girl. And I had a playmate who was deaf. Um, I think I was probably 6, 7-ish. I can't really, I have a vague recollection of that now. I had an aunt who was deaf. I think I've told you all about that. But this little girl lived just kind of around the corner, and we would play in the afternoons. Um, I think I had just finished first grade when we moved there, and so she was about the same age. And one of the things that they did was invite me to go along. They were going to it was a holiday weekend, and they were going to go to the lake, and they wanted me to go along with them and to play with their little girl, and just have fun. And I have a very vague recollection of doing that, but it was the best time. That's how I remembered. It was so very much fun. I don't know how we talked. I just know we did. So it was probably some sign language, and it probably, I remember playing dolls with her, and we had a couple of different dolls, and we'd change her clothes, and we'd say, and point, but it started early for me, and I've always had a heart for deaf people. But actually infants in their mother's womb can hear. That's why they say sing and do things that will help them, and they're growing up, I guess. So anyway, there are a lot of deaf people. There are a lot of deaf people around here. There truly are, like you just said. Okay. Anybody have any other questions? Anybody have any thoughts or ideas? Anybody want to go to the Bill Rice Ranch? Anybody ever been to the Bill Rice Ranch? You had a bad experience, I'm sorry. You did, you had a bad experience. The Bill Rice Ranch was someplace that I always wanted to go. And we got to go, and it was a lot of fun. And I realized then I was so bad at sign language. I'd be looking at people thinking, what was that? What are they saying? That's when I decided I better study it better, learn it. But you really need to be able to communicate with actual deaf people. It makes a big difference. It truly does. So I'm hoping we'll get to have some deaf people come. I'm praying about that. And I think the Lord knows that. I mean, He knows that I'm going to say we're ready. And you're going to say, I'm not ready. But what you can do is say hi. And can you say your name? Sure, you can say your name. You can say, welcome. Right? I'm not sure if it would be a distraction. I think it would be a distraction. Yeah, yeah. Shorthand, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Now, if you're sitting in the last row, nobody can see you. If it wouldn't distract anybody back there, I mean, yeah, yeah, yeah. Has anybody here watched our live stream? That's what Brother David's doing back there. He's done that every time. He has live streamed every lesson. I think it was last Sunday morning, it might have been the Sunday before, I got a text message from somebody that said, I just saw you on YouTube. Uh-oh. So I know it's there. And then I decided I'd go see it for myself and went, oh, no, I shouldn't tell anybody. But really, every lesson, every class that we've had is there, and you can go back and look at it, and you can practice with it. That's one of the reasons we did it. And there were some people who couldn't come that wanted the instruction. So since Brother David knew how to do it all, that's what he's been doing every Saturday, faithful to the very end. Right, Brother David? Thank you. Thank you for doing that. I do know some people that are watching and hopefully practicing. But I have nothing left to offer unless you got questions. Other than practice. Yeah. It's a picture. No, I wouldn't even do. I'd just do you. Yep. Anything else? All righty. If there's nothing else, let's count and do the ABCs. We started that way. Let's finish that way. All right? Let's start with the ABCs. A, B, C. Let me start again. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. That was easy, wasn't it? It's with my index finger, and you're just outlining a Z. That's all it is. Oh. Not if you can make a Z with it. You can do. If it looks like a Z. Okay. And say it. Okay. Okay. That's fine. Well, got it today. Remember today. Good. Let's see. We didn't count yet, did we? Okay. Were y'all here when I explained about the counting when you go past 10? Y'all were. Okay. Okay. But I don't think y'all two were here. Okay, well, that's probably because you missed it, but we did go over it. But we'll do it now anyway, okay? Since it was a request, let's do it. And so we'll start with 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now it changes. 11, 12, 13. Okay. I've got 3 fingers there, 13, and now I got to make 4 fingers, and I'm going to wave it myself, 14, 15. Now we're going to change up to going this way, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20 is, here's 2, 1, 2, 2, 0, 20. Now 21, make the 20, 1, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and then do 3 fingers, 3, 0, 30, and then the same way, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, oh my goodness, making the 3, 36, 37, 38, 39, and then 40 is 40. And it continues until you get to 100. And 100 is a 1 and a C, Roman 100. 100. Or 200 is 2 and a C, or 3 and a C. And then it would continue that way until you get to 1,000. 1,000. 1,000. 1,000. And then it would be the same procedure, you know, just progress from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's how it goes. Hope you don't have to count that far, though. Anything else? Anybody? Okay, so the Bill Rice Ranch allows deaf people, mostly children and students, to attend their camp for free every summer in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. It's a ranch, and the deaf kids, can go and stay for 1 week. And sometimes they try to finagle so they can stay another week and then another week because they love it. They have a really good time at the Bill Rice Ranch. And there's a lot of really skilled interpreters at the Bill Rice Ranch. They have a college at the Bill Rice Ranch to train deaf workers. I don't know if you knew that part or not. But anyway, my husband and I have been to the Bill Rice Ranch on multiple occasions. And the kids just have a wonderful time. They're just wild and crazy until it's time for church. But then they sit still, and the services are great. And there's usually multiple salvations amongst the deaf kids, the children. There's a deaf school. There's a school for the deaf here in Georgia. And one year we went to visit the school for the deaf because we were, okay, let me back up even further. When we had the deaf ministry at Harvest, we, for the state of Georgia, would take kids in the summertime to the Bill Rice Ranch. And it was free for them to go. We had buses, school buses at the church, and we had a couple of people who would drive the buses. So the kids would come to that church, and they'd load up on the bus, and I'd be on one of the buses, and my husband be on the other bus, and we would take those kids to the Bill Rice Ranch and stay the whole week with them. And we always had all kinds of things pop up that you would never have thought would happen, but fighting on the bus and all kinds of things that, you know, kids who didn't have the right clothes to wear, so we had to go to Walmart and buy them pants to wear or skirts to wear or whatever, because girls were not allowed to wear, and still I don't think they're allowed at the Bill Rice Ranch. You can't wear shorts, and I don't think you can wear pants at the Bill Rice Ranch. I'm not sure. So we actually knew Dr. Kathy Rice, who started it all, and then her sons, when she finally passed away, her oldest son took it over. We also knew him. He came to our church in Massachusetts. We had met him way, way back. And then we had some deaf camps in Massachusetts. And so we kind of have been around deaf people for a long, long time. And the one thing I know about deaf people is that they miss out a lot of stuff. They miss out on a lot of things because of their deafness. And so that's why they need interpreters. They need people who can be there for them and help them through when they get in trouble, when they have not just camp, but like, you know, somebody that needs to go to the doctor every week. That was part of what my ministry. One of the ladies that had breast cancer had to go for treatments well, she had to go multiple times. So there were several of us ladies who somebody would take her on Monday, somebody would take her on Tuesday. Friday was my day to drive her. And she was the sweetest lady, and they appreciate you so much. So there's many, many ways to minister to deaf people besides just bringing them to church and interpreting a Sunday morning service or whatever. But anyway, just so you know a little bit more about our background and history. And so we haven't done deaf ministry since we've been here. It's kind of like, it's been a long time. But there's still deaf people, and they still need they need people to help. So keep that in mind. Maybe the Lord will call you to that. You don't know. If you haven't been called to it, you might, because now you know sign language. there's more to learn. There's a lot more sign language to learn, and you can learn it. You've learned it so far, right? So far, so good. Okay. Well, I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed your putting up with me. Well, thank you. Thank you for being interested and wanting to learn and letting me do a little bit more sign language. Well, I'm glad. I hope so. I hope it's been a blessing. And I hope that you feel that if you ever need somebody to help you with it, if you decide to start a ministry for the deaf or decide to be involved in working with the deaf even, one of the things that they're really short on is teachers for the deaf. And that's why we went to the school for the deaf here in Georgia. We went to see, and I got offered a job. I did not want the job. I just wanted to know, what they were doing at the school there. But, yeah, they need teachers. Things to think about, especially you younger folks. Things to think about if you want to be in ministry. If you feel like the Lord's calling you to some kind of ministry, it might be a deaf ministry or deaf school. You never know. So those kids that go to the Georgia School for the Deaf have to live there because it's not close. There's also a school for the deaf in Atlanta. We visited there too, and that was kind of interesting. It was a very small school. That's what kind of bothered me about it. It was such a small school. But anyway, there's deaf schools all over. And there is all I can tell you. So you get to go a half hour early today if you want to go, because there's nothing more unless you want to ask questions. There's nothing more I can think of to tell you other than I loved it. I did love it. And I've loved having this opportunity to be able to teach you. So I hope you'll find. Now I know you must have deaf people come in once in a while at the bank. Not yet? Okay. All right. And I think you might run into deaf people periodically where you work too. Somebody recently was telling me, and I can't remember who it was right now, but somebody that I had talked to recently said, yeah, they had deaf people come in and they were trying to talk to them. It wasn't in this class, though. It was somebody else. Okay. Well, then I'm going to say that's the end for now. Not forever, but for now. And so hopefully you will be able to enjoy using sign language. Yeah, I know Ethan is. He's got somebody that knows some sign language that he's been able to communicate with, right? Yeah. Yes. And you too, was it you that had mm-hmm. That's who I was trying to remember, yes. Your mom had told me that Liberty was learning sign language. That's great. That's really great. They have a wonderful deaf ministry where Liberty is. Wonderful. Yeah. Okay. Then class is dismissed.